Welcome back. You're watching WION World is One, and this is Speed News. Let's start. Israeli strikes killed at least 12 Palestinians, including 9 members of the same family in Gaza. The Palestinian Authority claimed they were killed in an airstrike that targeted their apartment at the Shajaya neighborhood in northern Gaza. While at Nusret refugee camp in central Gaza, 3 others were killed, including a child, in an Israeli attack. Israeli media reports that the United States and Arab states have launched covert talks with Iran for a comprehensive ceasefire aimed at calming all war fronts at once. It claims that while Israel is not currently involved in the initiative, senior Israeli officials have been informed about it. U.S. Justice Department says an Afghan man has been arrested in Oklahoma for allegedly plotting to carry out an attack on Election Day on behalf of the Islamic State group. The man, identified as 27-year-old Nasir Ahmed Tawhidi, had been living in Oklahoma City since entering the U.S. in 2021 on a special immigration. Tawhidi and his accomplice were arrested after they tried to buy 2 AK-47 rifles and ammunition. In his post-arrest interview, Tawhidi said the attack planned to target large gatherings of people during which he and his co-conspirator expected to die as martyrs. FBI said the Afghan man was motivated by ISIS and had searched online for information on how to access cameras, Washington, D.C., and 4 states that did not require a license to get a firearm. The foreign ministers of Egypt and Jordan have expressed solidarity with Lebanon in the face of Israel's widening offensive. Addressing a joint news conference in Cairo with his Egyptian counterpart, Jordanian foreign minister called for an end to Israeli aggression on 3 fronts: in Gaza, West Bank, and Lebanon. They accuse Israel of being given impunity by its Western allies to systematically violate international law. The chief of UK's domestic intelligence has said that Russia and Iran are to be blamed for a staggering rise in assassination attempts on the UK soil. Ken McCallum, the director of MI5, said his agents have tackled 20 Tehran-backed plots since 2022 and warned that Iran could expand its targets in the UK if Israel attacks in response to Iran's missile barrage. Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has abolished a ministerial post dedicated to economic cooperation with Moscow. The move is being seen as a decisive step away from his predecessor's approach to relations with Russia. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi confirmed the decision, telling reporters that Ishiba had personally chosen to abolish the post. Moscow reacted to Ishiba's decision, with a foreign ministry spokesperson declaring that Russia has plenty of potential partners should Japan choose to stop its energy imports. France has successfully tested the new version of the Astra-30 anti-aircraft missile, which is capable of intercepting ballistic and hypersonic missiles. It is capable of hitting targets at altitudes of up to 25,000 meters. The new missile tests were carried out at the General Directorate of Armaments Test Center in Bicarosse, southwest of France. According to the local Ministry of Defense, this weapon may be introduced into service in 2026. Relatives of political prisoners detained in Venezuela's post-election crisis protested outside the courts in a city in western Venezuela to denounce human rights violations. They claim severe restrictions on visits and limited access to food following protests over the disputed re-election in July of leftist President Nicolás Maduro. Protesters say the relatives who are being held in the high-security prison face severe restrictions on visits and scarce access to food. Venezuela's National Assembly has approved an agreement to urge President Nicolás Maduro to break off relations with Spain in response to Spanish congressmen questioning his re-election and recognizing presidential candidate Edmundo González as the rightful winner of the election. The agreement asks the government to evaluate the severance of relations with Spain, as well as reciprocal action for the crude and intrusive proposal adopted in the Congress of Deputies of Spain against Venezuela. North Korea held a session of its Supreme People's Assembly from October 7th to 8th. It amended the constitution to change the working and voting ages of people, passed new laws on industry and economy, and named No Kwang-chol as defense minister. Leader Kim Jong-un did not appear on the list of attendees at the session. Dominican Republic says it has deported or repatriated nearly 11,000 Haitians in the past week, fulfilling a pledge to do so weekly as neighboring Haiti scrambles to handle the influx while besieged by gang violence and poverty. The Dominican government announced last week that it would deport up to 10,000 Haitians a week, starting in excess of immigrants as relations between the countries that share the island continue to sour. These are the largest such deportations in recent history.
You need to press the button.
The government of Bolivia's most wildfire-affected region, Santa Cruz, has warned citizens to take precautions as the air quality deteriorated with winds carrying smoke into the city. The local government reported an early morning air quality index of 373, a level classified as extremely bad. The residents have been advised to stay indoors and wear face masks in open areas. Classes have been suspended and landings at Viru Viru International Airport were halted for several hours as visibility dropped to just 600 meters. Hurricane Milton is barreling toward Florida's battered Gulf Coast as an enormous Category 5 storm. It is triggering massive traffic jams and fuel shortages as officials ordered more than 1 million people to flee before it slams into the Tampa Bay area. It is forecast to make landfall late Wednesday or early Thursday. It is threatening a stretch of Florida's densely populated west coast that is still reeling from the devastating Hurricane Helene less than 2 weeks ago. Rains affect the desert regions of Morocco and Sahara, leaving the desert region flooded. The storms provide more rainfall than had been seen in decades. The Moroccan government said 2 days of rainfall in September had exceeded yearly average in several areas that get an average rain of less than 250 millimeters annually. According to meteorologists, such extratropical storm is likely to change the course of the region's weather as the air retains more moisture, causing more evaporation and drawing more storms. Brazil's Supreme Court allows its formerly known as Twitter to resume operations after the platform has agreed to comply with legal requirements. This follows months of tension between Elon Musk and Justice Alexander de Moraes over the platform's refusal to follow court orders. Social media X had been suspended in Brazil since August for not moderating hate speech and failing to appoint a legal representative in the country. Musk, initially defiant and accusing Moraes of censorship, has now shifted course by blocking flagged accounts, appointing a local representative, and paying outstanding fines. A new independent body in Ireland will allow social media users in the European Union to challenge content moderation decisions on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Backed by Meta's Oversight Board Trust and certified by Ireland's media regulator, the body will function under the EU Digital Services Act as an alternative to court proceedings. Called Appeals Centre Europe, it will begin operations by year-end, starting with Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube cases, with plans to expand to other platforms. A U.S. federal judge has ruled that the Federal Trade Commission can move forward with its antitrust lawsuit against Amazon. This decision marks a significant setback for Amazon, which has spent months attempting to dismiss the case. The trial is scheduled for October 2026. The FTC, joined by attorneys general from 18 states and Puerto Rico, has claimed that Amazon is using its market dominance to raise prices, overcharge sellers, and stifle competition. The lawsuit, filed in September 2023 after years of investigation, is one of the largest legal challenges in Amazon's history. Uber is set to launch an AI assistant powered by OpenAI's GPT-4o to help drivers switch to electric vehicles. Announced at its Go Get Zero event in London, the assistant will offer personalized advice based on location and available incentives. This move is part of Uber's broader push to reduce emissions. The company has committed $800 million to help its drivers fully transition to electric vehicles by 2040. The AI tool, debuting in US in early next year, will expand globally and handle broader queries by 2025. Hyundai Motor India has set a price range of 1,865 rupees to 1,960 rupees for its initial public offering that opens next week for subscriptions. The Indian unit of the Korean car maker is offering a discount of 186 rupees per share to eligible employees in the IPO. The $3 billion IPO, India's largest ever, will open for subscriptions for big institutional investors on October 14th and invite bids from retail and other categories from October 15th to 17th. Boeing said that it had withdrawn its pay offer to around 33,000 U.S. factory workers and no further negotiations were planned with their union representatives as a financially damaging strike nears its fourth week. Boeing and the union held their latest round of negotiations with federal mediators, but talks collapsed and the sides were left locked in acrimonious stalemate, showing no signs of being resolved anytime soon. The U.S. said it may ask a judge to force Alphabet's Google to divest parts of its business, such as its Chrome browser and Android operating system that it says are used to maintain an illegal monopoly in online search. In a landmark case, a judge found in August that Google, which processes 90% of U.S. internet searches, had built an illegal monopoly. The Justice Department's proposed remedies have the potential to reshape how Americans find information on the internet while shrinking Google's revenues and giving its competitors more room to grow. Beijing is threatening further retaliatory taxes on European goods amid escalating trade tensions with the EU, particularly targeting large engine vehicles and dairy products. This follows the EU's decision to impose tariffs of up to 45% on Chinese electric vehicles. Importers of EU brandy will face a deposit requirement of up to 39% starting October 11th, causing significant declines in stock prices for European automakers and distillers. BMW and Mercedes-Benz shares dropped over 2%, while French brands like Remy and LVMH fell significantly. The EU plans to challenge China's brandy measures at the WTO as the negotiations continue. Japan has seen its highest number of bankruptcies in a decade, with 4,990 companies failing in the 6 months leading up to September. That is an 18.6% increase from last year. This surge is driven by rising costs, particularly affecting small businesses, with a record 472 firms citing inflation as a key factor. The construction, manufacturing, and retail sectors were hit hardest, facing operational cost increases and labor shortages. Additionally, rising debt servicing costs due to recent interest rate hikes by the Bank of Japan pose further challenges for struggling companies. Rolls-Royce has opened its first U.S. private office in New York City's Meatpacking District, offering ultra-wealthy clients personalized vehicle design services. This exclusive space allows clients to collaborate directly with designers to create bespoke cars, reflecting a growing trend among affluent consumers prioritizing customization over mass production. While the average Rolls-Royce Phantom costs around $500,000, customizations can exceed $1 million. The shift highlights a broader luxury trend towards individuality and craftsmanship as consumers increasingly seek unique experiences and products, influencing the luxury market's evolution.